15 athletes who married hotties half their size. Athletes come in all shapes and sizes, depending on what sport they're involved in, of course. In some sports, it's alright have a bit of a paunch or to not look like an Adonis, but in others, it's not acceptable to be flabby. You've got to be a fantastic physical specimen, in tremendous shape, fit and healthy. That's one thing you can generally control your weight and physique. But height is something that can't be helped. You're either tall or you're not. Some are blessed with height and it gives them an advantage in certain sports, like in basketball for example. It all boils down to genetics, being that tall and some may say, lanky, can't be helped, not that the tall athletes who are earning megabucks are complaining. So, being taller than average is great in some aspects, especially when it comes to playing pro sports and earning a paycheck. But in other areas of life, it can come as a real hindrance. One of those areas of day-to-day life where being tall might not be such a good thing, is dating and finding love. Not many women want to go out with someone who, when standing side by side, is looming over them, and appears to be twice as big as them. Forget going out with someone like that, many wouldn't even want to be pictured next to these gargantuan figures, just because it's not really a great look. But for these athletes, luckily for them, height hasn't been a factor in their dating lives as their current partners have been able to see past their height, and how small they look in comparison. It's pretty comical seeing these athletes with their petite wives or girlfriends, just because of the height difference, not that they seem to care, they're dating hotties so, short or tall, these 15 athletes can count themselves lucky. 8. Phil Mickelson Amy. Here's a bit of a change, let's move on from these basketball players for a SEC and get onto a bit of golf. Yes, I said golf, not really a sport renowned for breeding massive players. Having said that, Phil Mickelson isn't exactly massive at 6 feet 2 inches. But he certainly is to his wife, Amy. Phil and Amy are another couple on this list who have been together for quite a significant amount of time. They got married in 1996 after meeting at uni, and have been together ever since, establishing themselves as one of golf's most recognized and popular couples. She's a constant as Phil goes about doing his thing on the golf course, and golf fans just love seeing her, cheering her hubby on as he goes on tour. She was once a member of the NBA's Phoenix Suns cheerleading squad too, so she's a hottie and she's got the moves to impress too. No wonder Phil doesn't mind having Amy around on tour. 9. Andrei Kirilenko Masha Lopatova. Here's another recently retired pro basketball player. Yes, understandably there are going to be a lot of basketball players on this list. Andrei Kirilenko was a highly versatile player on the court, and consequently when he called time on his playing days, achieved legendary status with many people deeming him to be one of the greatest of all time. Someone who's been by his side his rock as he's gone about achieving all of his accomplishments is his wife Masha Marina Kirilenko. She's a celebrity in her own right, and hers is a prominent name in her and her hubby's native Russia. She's a former recording artist and is the founder of Fashion IQ, but Masha was used to the glitz and glamour even at a young age, being the daughter of Russian basketball player Andrei Lopatov. Being Lopatov's daughter, you'd have expected Masha to be a bit taller than she ended up being, because she really is dwarfed by her husband. 10. Kobe Bryant Vanessa. Kobe Bryant only called it quits on his NBA career pretty recently, probably wanting to spend more time at home chilling and getting up to other stuff with his other half, Vanessa. And looking at Vanessa, it doesn't take a genius to work out why. She's drop-dead gorgeous, a Latina beauty, and although she's another so-called wag, she spends a lot of her time out of the limelight. But back when Kobe was going through his whole sexual assault trial, we came to know a lot more about Vanessa. She initially stood by him, then instigated a divorce, but things eventually simmered down and they're still together, for better or for worse, but only time will tell. Vanessa's the very definition of a hottie. She's done some modeling, set eyes on her pictures and it's apparent why. She's also a pretty petite hottie. Kobe must be thanking his lucky stars that he still gets to wake up to Vanessa in the morning. 11. Big Show Best Catchamados. Even if you're not into wrestling, chances are you've heard of the Big Show. He's the very definition of a giant. He's a mass monster, weighing in at around 383 pounds, and all of that weight is packed onto his massive 7 feet. Frame imposing and threatening to say the least, perfect for wrestling, perhaps not ideal for dating. See Big Show on the street and you'd expect a lot of women to gawp and then run in the other direction, but having said that, Big Show has had plenty of luck or lack of it, depending on how you look at it with the opposite sex. There's been a ton of rumors over the years about Big Show dating this woman or that woman, and because he's best buddies with Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, you can imagine they had plenty of fun times on the road together back when they were all with WWE. Big Show was also married back in the day, a marriage that lasted for 5 years before getting hitched a second time to his current wife, Best Catchamados. She's absolutely gorgeous. Big Show's done well for himself, although the height and size difference makes the notion of them being together pretty comical. 12. Ivo Karlovic LC. Despite his massive frame, Ivo Karlovic probably hasn't enjoyed the success he thought would come his way. Due to his height and imposing frame, he's often able to blow opponents away on the court, but the Croatian tennis player is still pretty mediocre in terms of his achievements. He's one of the tallest tennis players in history, which has made him somewhat of a celebrity figure on the tennis circuit, but his relaxed attitude and humorous antics has also endeared him to the fans and has made him a fan favorite. He's also a favorite of a woman called Elsie, his spouse of 12 years. Not a whole lot is known about Ivo's other half. It appears as if she's not too fond of basking in the limelight, but one thing we do know, due to the efforts of the paparazzi, is that she's minuscule compared to her 6 feet. 11 inches. Hubby. In some pics it appears as if she is quite literally half his size. 13. Magic Johnson Erlitha Kelly. Magic Johnson is a man-mountain standing at 6 feet. 9 inches. A colossal figure that helped him reach heights not many people have reached before him on the basketball court. He's regarded as one of the greatest players of all time, and since retiring from the game, he hasn't slowed down, and he's still involved in NBA in one capacity or another. Despite the fame and fortune, being the busy bee that he is, and being such a massive bloke, in terms of both height and weight, you'd have thought that Johnson might have had a little trouble finding love, but that hasn't been the case. He got hitched to Erlitha Kelly, affectionately known as Cookie, in 1991, and she helped him through a hell of a lot. That same year, Johnson discovered he had HIV due to his sexual promiscuity, but despite the struggles being HIV positive has entailed, they're still together. Johnson's still strong, and so is his relationship with Cookie. Little and large they certainly are, but that doesn't matter one bit after everything they've been through, and in today's day and age where celebrity couples are getting divorced left, right, and center, they've remained together, so kudos to them. 14. Chris Bosh Adrian Williams. Chris Bosh has been doing his thing on the basketball court since 2003, and although he's not really regarded to be one of the world's best basketball players, he's got a well-rounded game which has meant he's an incredible asset to any team who acquires his services. Those lucky teams have been Miami Heat, who he currently plays for, and the Toronto Raptors, with whom he's enjoyed the best days of his career. But there's certainly something that would make him thank his lucky stars he got drafted to Miami. It's where he met and married his wife, Adrian Nicole Williams. A former model, Adrian is now regarded to be an entrepreneur and philanthropist who's dedicated to helping community charitable causes, not to mention cheering on her hubby. At 5 feet tall, Adrian really is tiny, and looks even more so when pictured next to her 6 feet 11 inches hubby, but one thing's for sure, she's a hottie, and the couple look really cute together. Happy families. 15. Kevin Garnett, Brandy Padilla. All these big dudes on the basketball court seem to be calling it a day around the same time. Kevin Garnett is another ex-pro basketball player who called it quits just a year ago. He had a glittering career which started the moment he was drafted. He became the first player to be drafted straight out of high school in over 20 years, becoming a young but not little superstar overnight. He didn't disappoint, and earned a ton of accomplishments, and achieved plenty of accolades during his 21 years in the NBA. Kevin's also another guy on this list who's had a long and successful marriage, one that's still ongoing. He got hitched to Brandy Padilla, his longtime girlfriend, in 2004, missing the Olympic Games to do so, and you can see why he made that decision. Brandy soon became known as one of the hottest NBA wags, due to her sizzling physique and natural beauty, which she's managed to maintain even after having 2 kids. One thing about Brandy is that she is small. She's minuscule. A lot of people would be standing next to the 6 feet 11 inches Kevin, but when they appear next to each other, it becomes evident just how small she is. In fact, it's a struggle just to get them both in the same frame. Wide lens please.